Imagine a young boy skiing down the snowy slopes of the Italian Alps, dreaming of football glory, only to become the tennis world's biggest sensation. Intrigued, you should be. Today we're exploring the incredible journey of Jannik Sinner, the prodigy who swapped skis for rackets and is now dominating the ATP Tour. Stick around to learn how he did it, and you might even pick up some inspiration for your own dreams. When we talk about him, we have to admit that Sinner has had one of the most unusual paths to tennis glory. After climbing to number 1 in the world at the beginning of June, Sinner became only the 29th player in the Open era to achieve such a feat. But Sinner wasn't always interested in making history with tennis like all the other tennis champions. He was different in that regard. And here's how. Born on August 16, 2001 in Innichen, a tiny village in northern Italy, he was surrounded by mountains, not tennis courts. Naturally, his first love was skiing. Inspired by Italy's 2006 World Cup win, football was close second on his list of passions. Sinner grew up in the mountainous province of Tyrol in the Southern Alps. This region is a paradise for skiing enthusiasts, and young Sinner was no exception. Encouraged by his parents, who worked at a nearby ski resort, Sinner took up skiing at an early age. By the time he was 7, he was one of Italy's top junior skiers. So, how did he transition from the slopes to the courts? It was his dad who nudged him towards tennis when he was 13. Young Jannik wanted a sport where he could directly compete against an opponent and make all the calls himself. And boy, did he make the right call. At 13, Sinner made a bold move. He left his cozy mountain village for the town of Bordighera, 600 kilometers away, to train with the legendary coach Riccardo Piatti. Piatti, who had previously coached big names like Novak Djokovic, saw potential in Sinner and took him under his wing. Sinner and Piatti decided to take the next step and play against professionals in the Futures and even the Challenger Series, where Sinner often found himself up against much older, physically stronger, and mentally tougher opponents. And the logical thing happened. Sinner often lost, and those losses always affected his confidence. But in the end, it was the right thing to do, because it helped him rise faster. Back then, Jannik Sinner left his very first mark on professional tennis. Barely 16 years old, the Italian sensation was making significant progress on the ITF circuit. He won his first ITF match at the Futures in Egypt in January, signaling his potential. It was also the first time he appeared in the world rankings, where he was ranked 1,592nd. From then on, Sinner played consistently in both singles and doubles tournaments, and even received a wild card for bigger events such as the ATP Challengers, even though he didn't manage to bag a win on that level. His participation on all those pro tournaments was largely due to the reputation of his coach, Piatti, who is a very familiar face in tennis circles. By the end of 2018, Sinner had made solid progress in the rankings. From number 1592 at the end of January, he was 551 in November. He continued to work hard, improving his on-court movement, the intensity of his game, and the most important shot in his arsenal, his headshot. Haha, no, I'm obviously joking. It was his backhand. Yes, you probably didn't watch him in the early years of his career, but the forehand was always his weaker stroke, which he improved significantly since he started working with his current coach, Darren Cahill. However, before we reach that stage of his path, let's talk about his work ethic, which he describes as the biggest reason for his success. My parents are special, because when I came back from school, they were not there. They were working. And I used to always go to ski.
I think that's the kind of mentality they gave me to, if you want to reach something, you have to work.
Well, Sinner certainly followed that valuable lesson every day, based on what he achieved afterwards. If 2018 was a good year for him, 2019 was an even better one. Sinner received a wild card for a challenger in Bergamo, and not only did he win his first challenger match, he won the whole tournament. This victory was a turning point. Over the next few months, he added more titles to his collection and scored his first ATP Tour win in Budapest Open against Hungary's Matej Valkusz.
Ice cool. Brilliant from Jannik Sinner.
In August, he played his first Grand Slam main draw match, losing to Stan Wawrinka in the first round of the US Open, who later beat Novak Djokovic. But the real highlight came in November 2019, when he won the inaugural Next Gen Finals in Milan, defeating future stars like Francis Tiafoe and Alex de Minaur in the final to claim his title. Over the next period, a lot more big things happened for Sinner. His victory over Sasha Zverev at Roland Garros in October 2020 was his first top 10 win at a Grand Slam.
Jeu set a match, Sinner. 6-3, 6-3, 4-6, 6-3.
Later that month, he even won his first ATP title at the Sofia Open in Bulgaria, which marked his first break into the top 40. Then came another ATP 250 title in 2021 and a First Masters 1000 final in Miami, which he unfortunately lost in straight sets to Hubert Hurkacz. Then came the successful defense of his Sofia Open title.
Monster form.
Which earned him a place in the top 10 in November 2021. Later that month, he participated in the Nitto ATP Finals and took sweet revenge on Hurkacz, beating him 2-0 in Turin.
Incredible.
After all of Sinner's brilliant performances over the previous 5 years came 2022, which can be defined as the year of progress towards a better future. The main reason for this is that Sinner made the difficult decision to part ways with his longtime coach, Riccardo Piatti, and start working with his current coaches, first bringing in Simone Vanozzi.
Here with Vanozzi, I think he's a good coach.
And a few months later, Darren Cahill. Yes, in terms of silverware, Sinner had only one title in 2022, the ATP 250 in Umag. But regardless, that season could definitely be described as his most important for him, even to this day. The change in his team was definitely a smart move. In 2023, Sinner saw a significant breakthrough with his first Masters 1000 title in Toronto. This victory boosted his confidence, setting off a chain reaction. Over the next 10 months, until the end of June 2024, the Italian boy wonder has lost just 8 matches. One to Lajovic at Cincinnati, then to Zverev at the US Open, Ben Shelton at Shanghai, Novak Djokovic at the Nitto ATP Finals, 2 against Carlos Alcaraz at the Indian Wells and Roland Garros, 1 to Tsitsipas at Monte Carlo, and his latest loss to Medvedev in Wimbledon. In that time, including his most recent title in Halle, which happens to be his first grass court trophy, just take a look at this point.
That is unreal.
Sinner has won 7 incredibly valuable trophies. Going back from his recent Halle Trophy, he won the ATP Masters 1000 Miami, beating Grigor Dimitrov in quite a dominant fashion 6-3, 6-1. Rotterdam playing the final against Alex de Minaur. Also, his most valuable Australian Open, where he had one of the most tough and epic comebacks from 2 sets down against Medvedev. Vienna again playing a tough match against Medvedev.
Oh my
In
word!
Beijing, once again, surprise, surprise against Medvedev in a 2-set tiebreak. And the Toronto Trophy we mentioned before against the Australian Alex de Minaur. Yes, the last 11 months have been truly inspiring for Sinner, and this period could go down as one of the best for any player in the Open era. Of course, he could make this run even more impressive by the end of 2024, but one thing's for sure. Having reached world number 1 by reaching the semifinals at Roland Garros, it's safe to say that the sky is the limit for him right now. So, there you have it, the inspiring journey of Jannik Sinner, the current world number 1 and arguably the best tennis player in the world right now. But what do you think? Leave your comment down in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe.